raise taxes 3%. In fact, it's unlikely that we'll be able to raise them at all. It's possibly confusing in calling this banking because it's really not banking unless all kinds of other things happen, which at this point, to put it kindly, look less than likely. So to put it another way, because of that limit, the city of Washougal might be able to raise its property tax rate 3%, but only if there were at least 3% reductions elsewhere in the property tax. So the actual tax to a consumer doesn't change. It's just a shift of whether the city gets it or whether the EMS levy lid lift gets it or whether the library gets it.
Molly?
Frankly, if you look historically for the last couple of years, this council has voted by choice not to increase taxes. As a matter of fact, last year to decrease property taxes. In light of that, by 2013, the composition of the council will be different, certainly, and I would like to at least allow them the opportunity to make that decision themselves as to whether they, if they have an opportunity to utilize banked capacity to do so. My suspicion is that that will probably not be the case, but just to make sure that everyone knows that we have made that decision not to take that 1% increase when we had the opportunity.
Other questions, comments?
I have a point of clarification. Last year when we reduced the property tax, we also then the following week banked the 1% potential increase. Now, if that was the case, then doesn't that mean it continues to be banked?
No.
No, once the library bond passed and maxed our capacity, any banking that you did went away.
Okay.
You lost it. Other questions, comments? Yeah, the only thing that I would add to it is certainly in the future, and I would concur with both council members Greenlee and Coaston. No crystal ball, but within the next 3 years, I don't see a whole lot of change happening in there. And even if it were, and the library bond went away, the library levy tomorrow, we've still got an EMS levy that just passed that we're not collecting a good portion of because that one superseded us that would slide in and take its place. So there are a number of factors in place in there. Okay, if there are no other questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Can I make a couple clarifying points from Paul Lewis?
You bet.
He just wanted to read, or he explained it as that under the current lid lift approved by the voters, we're currently at our statutory maximum rate of $3.10. When the lid lift expires in 2013, the levy is going to revert back to the 2006 levy, plus any increases of up to 1% per year authorized by the council, plus new construction, of course. So in order to preserve the maximum levy capacity for 2013, when the lid lift expires, that's why we're approving this 1% increase, is to preserve that capacity, not necessarily binding the council in any way of using or setting it in stone, but like Molly, Councilmember Coaston said, to give them the option in the future.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, just one further clarification as well. This particular action is different from last year's action to bank capacity. Last year, you actually had capacity to raise 1%. You would have been capped by that capacity to raise it. You chose not to, which many of your colleagues in other communities did because of the economic conditions, but you banked that, potentially looking at this year and this time right now to potentially leverage that. That was taken away, as was explained. So it's a different concept, but some of the lingo is the same, and there is no opportunity to raise 1%, say no to it and bank it. It's just allowing the levy amount to grow potentially. such that you have an option later. But there's no specificity to it. You don't know exactly what that will be.
Okay. Other questions for council? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to pass and post the resolution in the usual manner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Councilmember Poston?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
No.
Councilmember McDaniel?
Aye.
Councilmember Delavar?
No.
Councilmember Greenlee?
Aye.
Councilmember Russell? Or, excuse me, Morris?
Aye.
And Councilmember Morris?
No.
Thank you. Motion passes. Okay, moving to Agenda Bill 171-10, Department Head Manual. Mr. Scott.
Yes, Mayor and Council, before you is an item that would amend our code to update. Our code references a department head's manual by a specific addition from earlier this year. What's before you we discussed at workshop last week, where essentially the effect of this action would be to amend the salary exhibit for non-represented employees to not introduce a COLA for 2011. So the salary ranges for employees in 2011 will be the same as in 2010 for your non-represented employees. It also introduces language that will suspend any other increases that employees, non-represented employees would be entitled to based upon a step increase or moving from one category of longevity to another. So the result of this action was essentially whatever a non-represented employee's salary is on December 31st of 2010 will be what their salary is for the duration of 2011. But it is an ordinance because we referenced that manual in the code.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we read the ordinance by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance amending Washougal Municipal Code 2.104.010 to reflect a 0% increase to the salary schedule of the department head's manual and suspending step or longevity increases for 2011 for all non-represented employees.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
Got a motion to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I wanted to thank the staff and also our city administrator for leading in an area which is difficult. This is, I believe, one of the truest forms of leadership, and that is to restrict what is available to you, or what was already available to you, because it was perceived as the right thing to do, and thank you for that.
Thank you for that comment. Any other questions, comments? Okay, we've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Going under the consent items that were pulled to new business, I've got the November 1, 2010 Washougal City Council minutes. Councilman Greenlee.
Under public comments, the last one, Larry Keister stated he would like the public comment section to be at the end of the meetings. My memory is that he stated he would like an additional public comment section to be at the end of the meeting.
Actually, I believe Larry's intent and comments were that the public comment section be